Today's video was actually a special request by one of you, dear viewers. The viewer, I hope I don't butcher this, Clarence Gregory. I'm going to try my very best to get this build right. Tell me what you think in the comments. And if you want to see a specific build yourself, let me know down in the comments who the character is and what franchise they are from. With that being said, let's get on with today's video. The Zodiac. Oh, the Zodiac. More specifically, the Zodiac of astrology. A bunch of constellations that have some sort of meaning, even if I do not understand what that meaning is. In all honesty, the astrology baloney makes less sense than chakra. Chakra at least has some form of religious tie. The constellations, not really. And they make even less sense, especially when you go into all these dumb personality traits that people associate with that constellation. I mean, take my constellation, for example. As you all know, I was born in January, so I have the constellation, honestly the worst constellation, the Capricorn. The only reason that I currently fit this constellation is because I have to be those traits. It's not by choice. It has to be this way. V embodies the exact opposite of the Capricorn, and he's Capricorn as well. Yeah, the only personality trait I exhibit from the Capricorn constellation is loyalty. I'm not that hard of a worker, and, well, if anything, I'm just stubborn. Not really persistent. So, yeah, the constellations are just, at least the personality traits of astrology just make no sense. But the constellations themselves do still have some inspiration in a lot of different characters, in a lot of different works of fiction. One of those being the Knights of the Zodiac, which we are going to be covering today. Now, I have not watched Saint Seiya ever. In fact, it was only until recently where I actually went into this franchise to see what these characters were about. And I've watched a grand total of 3 episodes. One from 3 different seasons. The first 2 were of when they went to Asgard in the Soul of Gold series, which actually looks good. I'm going to have to watch that more. And then the other one was a non-canonical series. The, what was it called? The Lost Canvas. And then I finally got to watch the very first episode of the very first series, which the art style did not really age that well, but it still gave me enough information to build these characters. And I'm not going to build each individual saint. What I am going to do is build a general character idea based off of each of the saints. And can you really blame me? There's a lot to go over with each one of these saints because they have their own personality, and they've even swapped out different saints. So if anything, this is if your character becomes one of the saints. So let's go ahead and get things started by starting off with the point buy system. Strength is going to be a 13, dexterity is going to be a 15, constitution, intelligence, and charisma are all going to be a 10, and wisdom is going to be a solid 14. Now, all of the saints in the Saint Seiya series are human. We're going to go with the human variant so we can get a +1 in our strength and a +1 in our dexterity. We'll grab the skill religion, and I'll explain why here in a moment. We're also going to grab the feat fighting initiate and grab the unarmed fighting style. This will give our unarmed strikes a D8 so long as we are not holding any weapons or shields, which the saints never do except for maybe one. And let me tell you, there are, like I said, there are a lot of saints. You can actually see them over here on the right. And really, none of them use weapons, which is very interesting in my opinion. And, oh boy, it's a lot of saints. So, background. Knight of the Order. They are an order of the saints. The gold saints later on, because of their golden fleece. No, golden cloth, which is based off of the golden fleece. Anyway, as a Knight of the Order, you get the following proficiencies: Persuasion and History, 1 musical instrument or 1 gaming set of your choice, 1 language of your choice, and you get the feature Knightly Regard. Now for your class. We're going to go ahead and jump into 3 levels of Monk. And that is because every time I see one of the saints battle, it is only with their fists. Hoo-ha, hoo-ha. It's crazy, and that was actually the main premise of the very first episode of the very first series. The main character, who was the Pegasus constellation, which is not a part of the Zodiac, though Japan really does like adding the Pegasus to the main protagonist, so it's not too surprising. But anyway, not important. What is important is that Seiya, the protagonist, did a lot of punches and kicks, so much that it actually dealt a lot more damage than you would expect from a normal person. And this is before he got his hands on the cloth of the Pegasus. So yeah, Monk makes sense, and so does the unarmed fighting style. Since you're at 3rd level of Monk, you get 3d8 hit dice, you get a starting hit points at 8 plus your Constitution modifier, and you also get some extra hit points equal to 1d8 plus your Constitution modifier per Monk level. You also get proficiencies in the simple weapons and short swords, 1 instrument of your choice, saving throws in strength and dexterity. Skills, we're going with acrobatics and athletics. You get unarmored defense, which is your dexterity plus your wisdom modifier plus 8. No, 10. It was 10. 10 plus dex plus wisdom. You get martial arts. You get ki. you get unarmored movement, which increases your movement speed by 10. You also get the dedicated weapon feature, which isn't really necessary since you don't use a weapon. I believe I saw in the Soul of Gold series the Leo constellation, the Leo Saint, use a weapon in that episode. I don't remember. But I do know that a couple of saints do use a monk-like weapon. So that would actually be useful for your saint if you so choose to do so. Also on level 3, you get Deflect Missiles, Key Fueled Attack, and a Monastic Tradition. We're going to go with Way of the Sun Soul, which gives us the ability Radiant Sun Bolt. We are going with Sun Soul because the Saints gain their power by using AV Force Cosmos. And they unleash this power in a beam of light or multiple beams of light. And we actually see this in the very first season when Saya puts on his cloth. He is able to blast out a big old beam. And in the Soul of Gold series, before the cloth is even put on, I believe, again, this was Leo, was able to not only rapid-fire punch, but also send out multiple beams of light with each punch. Which was pretty cool. So that makes sense, going with the Sun Soul. Our 4th level monk, since we're dealing with magical armor and an awesome transformation sequence, we need mage armor. And the only way to get that with this build is to go with the feat Eldritch Adept and grab the Armor of Shadows Eldritch Invocation. This will give us access to mage armor at will, and we don't need any of the material components. Awesome! Also at 4th level monk, we get Quickened Healing and a Slow Fall. And now it's time for our multi-class, which, since we are servants of Athena, we're going with Cleric. More specifically, we're going with Divine Domain Arcana. And I'll go a little bit more into that once I explain the full Cleric multi-class. Another 1d8 hit die, some extra hit points equal to 1d8 plus your Constitution modifier per Cleric level, proficiencies in light armor, medium armor, and shields. You get spell casting based off of your Wisdom modifier, and your Divine Domain of Arcana will give you the domain spells Detect Magic and Magic Missiles. This helps us with some of those smaller bolts of energy that we expel using the Cosmos. We also get Arcane Initiate, which gives us access to the skill Arcana, and 2 wizard cantrips. We're going to go with Lightning Lure and Toll the Dead. 2nd level Cleric gets access to Channel Divinity. Since we are a Cleric of Arcana, we get Arcane Abjuration, which works very similarly to the Channel Divinity Turn Undead, but also for Celestials, Fiends, Fae. And I believe Aberration? I don't remember, but at higher levels, Arcane Abjuration also counts as a smaller form of the Banishment spell, which is amazing. We also get access to Harness Divine Power. Moving on to level 5 Monk, we get Extra Attack, Stunning Strike, and Focused Aim. Level 6 Monk gets access to Ki Empowered Strikes and Searing Arc Strike because of our Sun Soul Monk subclass, which gives us access to the spell Burning Hands. So we're getting some good abilities. And these, I'm sure you are seeing the resemblance to the Golden Saints already with some of these features that we are going over. Well, we still have more to cover. At level 3 Cleric, we get some more domain spells, Magic Weapon, and Nostul's Magic Aura. I can probably see Magic Weapon as a good example of one of the Saint's abilities, but I'm not sure about the Magic Aura. You have to tell me in the comment section if the Magic Aura is a good spell for the Saints. Especially you, Gregory. I'm expecting a lot of feedback from you. Anyway, moving on. Clerics at 4th level get an ability score improvement. We're going to go ahead and increase our dexterity to an 18. This means that our mage armor will give us a +4 on top of our armor class. So that's 13 plus 4. That means a 17 while we're using mage armor. While unarmored defense currently has us at a 18? No, 16. Unarmored defense has a 16, so 10 plus 4 plus 2 is 16. There we go, okay. Moving on to level 7 Monk, Evasion and Stillness of Mind. Level 8 Monk, go ahead and increase your dexterity to a 20. This means that our mage armor is currently working at an 18. Thanks to mage armor. Unarmored defense is working at 17. So pretty good armor class. We can still be hit, but we can still somewhat deflect some attacks. Cleric at level 5 gets Destroy Undead and some more domain spells. Detect Magic, again, and Magic Circle. Pretty neat. 9th level Monk gets Unarmored Movement Improvement. Level 10 Monk gets Purity of Body. Level 6 Cleric of the Arcane Domain gets Spellbreaker. Pretty neat. Level 7 Clerics get access to more domain spells, Arcane Eye and Leomund's Secret Chest. Level 11 Monks get Searing Sun Burst thanks to their Sun Soul subclass. Level 12 Monks gets an ability score improvement. Go ahead and increase your Charisma by 2. You are a servant of Athena, so having some form of communication skills would actually help you when trying to negotiate with certain kingdoms, maybe even rulers from another land, stuff like that. And that is the reason why at level 8 Cleric we are also increasing our Charisma by 2 again, giving us some edge when trying to communicate with foreign powers. Other than the foes we're trying to face. That is the end of the build, but not the end of the video, as we still have to go over spells. Now, these are the spells that I recommend. For your cantrips, Guidance, Light, Sacred Flame, and Word of Radiance, first level spells will be Bless, Cure Wounds, Guiding Bolt, for another, bolt-like attack. Shield of Faith, which makes perfect sense, give one of your allies access to more AC. Prayer of Healing, spiritual weapon for a long-ranged weapon attack. Beacon of Hope and Spirit Guardians at 3rd level. 4th level, we'll just go ahead and go right out with the Banishment and Divination spells. Divination so you can talk to Athena or whatever god happened to summon you to your current location. Well, that is the end of this build and the end of this video. What did you all think? Was this accurate to the lore of the Golden Saints from the series Saint Seiya? Let me know down in the comments below, and let me know if I could have done something different. And with that being said, this has been Drayhan, and I'll see you all next time. But for now, I am offline.